YouTube, what is up? So let's just get right into it. We are doing stretching today. I've had so many questions on lower mobility. What can I do to get more flexible? How are you so flexible? And so I decided to show you guys a routine that I often go through when I'm incredibly sore or I find myself tightening up. Some of you don't know, I'm a former gymnast, so I have grown up stretching most of my life, and it's a love-hate relationship. Stretching, you learn to grow to like stretching. If you're new to stretching, it's painful, it hurts, and you feel like you're ripping your muscles in half. I understand. Being a gymnastics coach as well, I understand that it doesn't feel good, and sometimes you have to be uncomfortable, but there's a balance. Stretching can be an incredibly helpful tool in your fitness journey, but it can also lead to injury if you don't do it correctly. So my hopes is that through this video I can show you safe ways to stretch while also pushing yourself and doing it safely, and also just kind of pulling back the wheels. The thing about stretching is it takes time and consistency. Some people are naturally flexible and so things come quicker, and other people really have to work at it. They're like stiff as a board. It just depends what kind of genetics you have. Your key for stretching is one, consistency, time holding the stretches. So studies show that you need to hold your stretches anywhere from 1 minute to 2 minutes. And that's when the muscle spindles start to relax and the stretching and the growth can happen. So many people will hold it for what, 10 to 15 seconds. They're like, okay, I'm done, it hurts. So you need to learn to breathe, and you need to learn to just kind of embrace the I'm tearing in half feeling. With moderation, of course. I don't want you to just go ahead and jump into a split and push yourself and say, I gotta hold and breathe and Hannah said to do this. No, I don't want torn hamstrings. You want to make sure your muscles are warm before you do stretching. You want to make sure that you are getting blood flow to those areas so that we have no muscle tears. There's two different kinds of stretching. Well, there's different kinds of stretching, but the two main I'm going to talk about is you have static stretching and then you have dynamic stretching. So this video is not something you want to do before you go work out. You will find yourself losing power because we are doing more static stretching. There is some dynamic stretching within this video, but mainly this is for flexibility growth. My dogs. So typically you want to do dynamic stretching before your workouts, static stretching after your workouts. And dynamic stretching is all of the things you see me do before my videos that are actively stretching my muscles while we're moving. Missy, big old booty, big booty G. Static stretching is where you hold these stretches for a certain amount of period. I recommend 30 seconds to a minute. You will see me do a lot of dynamic stretching, and then I'll do a lot of static stretching right after. And this is a great way to kind of confuse the muscles to relax, if that makes sense. So this is a simple routine that I do. I kind of went through the whole body. Let me know after this video if you guys want to see my mobility routine for my upper body that helps with shoulder health. This video is sped up quite a bit, and it's also, I didn't hold the stretches as long because I didn't want like a 30-minute video of stretching. So just put things in perspective that when I'm holding for a little bit longer of time, I'm holding 1 to 2 minutes, not like the 5 seconds that it shows. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Go ahead and do all this fantastic stuff, and I will catch you later. Alright you guys, so I just wanted to give you a contrast of normal speed versus a sped up version that's going to be happening in a few seconds here. But stretching is all about taking your time and really relaxing it through the tension and uncomfortability that you're going to be feeling. Yes, stretching doesn't always feel good, but if you can learn to embrace the feeling that you get from stretching, it can be really relaxing and beneficial for not only your mind, but your physical needs as well. So starting off, you will see that I'm doing some dynamic stretching. Going up and down is really going to get the hamstrings activated so that when I hold, I can go a little bit deeper each time. Again, listen to your body. You don't want to be aggressive in these. You want to be slow and controlled. And if you feel like a muscle is tearing, back off a little bit and ease into it a little bit more. I always start off with hamstrings because I feel like when my hamstrings get loose, everything else just kind of falls into place and my stretches are a little bit easier to go through. I will rock back and forth for literally 2 minutes. If you get lightheaded, you can always stand up and take your time with being upside down. When you stretch your Achilles, the key is to get that heel flat on that floor, keeping your knees straight. Obviously, the further out your feet are from your hands, the more difficult it is going to be. Then I go right into my split stretches that prepare me for my splits. Again, here's some dynamic stretching, and then I'm going to hold. So that hold was actually close to 30 seconds. This video is sped up again, so I just want to remind you guys that when you stretch your hip flexors, turn your hips underneath so you can really isolate the hips. Raising your hand above your head is going to isolate even further. Then we're going to go into the quads. Again, I'm holding a lot longer than you may think. Pressing those hips forward to really isolate the quads there. Then when you go into the hippo, you want a 90-degree angle between your heel and your knee. You'll feel a much further stretch within your glutes on that. Most people will have their heel kind of towards their groin, and they're not getting the full benefit of the glute stretch there. Again, when you straighten your leg in this lunge, when you flex your foot, you're going to feel an intense stretch in your calf. If that one is so significant, don't flex your foot as much. Really just listen to your body. Again, this is also going to stretch my hip flexor, but when I tuck my pelvis under like that and reach up, it is going to significantly isolate that tendon right there, and that's what you want. That's where most people are extremely tight. So that will also help with hip mobility when you do things like squats and lunges. In the hippo, also, if you pay attention to my heel and my knee, they are in a 90-degree angle. Bending over will also intensify the stretch. If bending over is too much, don't do it. When you do seal stretches, please, 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 if you have lower back problems, make sure you are pulling in your stomach to support that back. And also by pulling in and lifting up, you're going to intensify the stretch. Be careful with that one, because if you have back pain, you really want to be careful. I don't want any more back pain to result because of that. When you do cat stretches, I am taking my hand that is on top and I'm pulling my other hand away from my body while I'm pushing down my armpit into the ground. Then we're going to go into scorpions. I like to have a 90-degree angle with my arm, and you will really feel that in your pectoralis major and minor. It's fantastic. Right into scorpions. This is also an amazing dynamic stretch to do before your workouts if you are extremely tight in your thoracic region. Now this one is a little bit more complicated. It's the pretzel. You are going to be pressing your hips forward while pulling your heel to your butt, and your other foot is going to be pushing down your knee, and you are going to be working your IT band, your quads, and then we're going to start working our thoracic region. So when you do this, it's a little bit complicated. You're going to pull your bottom leg into your butt while you're pressing your hips forward, and your other hand is pulling your front leg to the side to really contrast the upper body. This stretch is fantastic. I will hold this for up to 3 minutes on each side, especially if I'm having a tight thoracic region and back pain. Then once I feel like I am warmed up, I will go into my splits. So there's two different kinds of splits. You have your square splits like I was showing you, where both hips are squared. This is much more difficult. And then there's the unsquare split that I have right here. I like to go back and forth between the two to really work the different muscle structures, because you will feel a different stretch with each. As you can see, I'm rocking back and forth. As I rock back and forth each time, I'm trying to go lower and lower. Again, this looks really fast, but it's actually very slow. Same thing, rocking back and forth, going back into square. When you're square, you can test it by both hips trying to face forward. If you want to intensify the stretch, you saw my hand go on my knee. That will really, really intensify the stretch underneath your knee, cap, and hamstring. Once I do my split stretches, I go into butterfly sequence. And this is key for your quadratus laborum and some of those deep back muscles right there. Do you see how my left hip and there's space underneath my thigh? You're going to want to push that hip down while stretching to the other side. I'm extremely tight back there right now, so I'm working on loosening that up. When you go into Spider-Man's, if you flex your foot like that, you are going to intensify the stretch in your calf and your hamstring. And these bad boys I have unfortunately lost. So as you can see, I'm going to be rocking back and forth. I'm going to be closing my eyes and just kind of breathing and pushing down. Flexing your feet back and forth will also intensify the stretch. If the middle splits are too intense for you, you can go into Froggies, where you bend your knees 90 degrees. Again, rocking back and forth, you'll feel more of an intense stretch within your groins. This is a fantastic stretch to do for your inner thighs if you don't feel comfortable with doing the middle splits. Here is my favorite glute stretch. Make sure your heel is in line with your knee, so it's 90 degrees on both sides. And then you can slightly push down on the hand above that knee, and you will feel it in your glutes and a little bit in your upper glutes on that leg. Again, those were held for a lot longer than it's shown. Then you're going to go into a pike stretch. Make sure your elbows are flat on the ground. During your hamstring stretch, I want you to stretch your tibialis. So if you notice me pushing my toes down, you'll feel an intense stretch on the top of your ankles. A lot of people are extremely tight, and most people don't realize that in their squats, that's prohibiting them to have proper form. So make sure you're stretching out your ankles. So here is a back stretch and hammy stretch. Please, please, please be careful with this one. Again, ease into it. Make sure you feel your body. If it hurts your back, just stay flat on your bum and stretch your hamstrings that way. Then we're going to go into some thoracic movements. I do 15 to 20 on each side, and then I hold. Same thing. This is great before workouts, especially if you're going to be doing deadlifts and squats and lunges and things like that, or even an upper body workout. Here we are going to be doing our hamstrings and glutes. You can put your hand underneath and grab the leg to pull forward, or you can use your other hand to push your knee away, which will intensify the stretch just a little bit more. You can also kick the bottom leg to help activate those hamstrings to loosen up. And then here is another excellent stretch for the ankles. I think so many people don't even know that you can stretch your ankles, and it's super important. But make sure you do not let your ankles roll out. We do not want to be loosening the muscles on the side of our ankles, those ligaments, because those are what help us keep in alignment when we walk and run. We don't want to promote rolling our ankles. And then wrists. Wrist health is so important, because if your forearms get tight, that all leads up into your shoulders, and your shoulders get out of whack, and then some people have tennis elbow, and it's just all around painful. So make sure you stretch out your wrists. And that was so quick, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you next time.